Tips to outsmart a narcissist in any conversation. So let's discuss conversational strategies for handling narcissists. Knowing your audience is the first and most important step. Know who you are dealing with. What I'm getting at is that if you want to outwit someone who falls into the destructive narcissism category in conversation, it's crucial to understand that you are dealing with someone who lacks empathy. They have no conscience. Accordingly, your high capacity for empathy, your good nature, your love and compassion for others, as well as your sense of decency and integrity, will not give you the upper hand in this conversation. People who lack empathy and conscience are capable of going to lengths that you and I cannot even imagine in order to be right, to win the right battle, to have the last word, to get their own way, to be seen in a certain light, to advance their own agenda, right? Therefore, be aware from the start that there will never be a level playing field because you are not dealing with a person who will follow the rules of life. So, know your audience. Know who and what you are dealing with and adjust your expectations, your own behavior, and your own attitudes accordingly. Don't enter there projecting all the positive attributes you possess onto someone who doesn't. We all project to some extent, but when it comes to dealing with someone who falls on the destructive narcissism spectrum, you have to keep in mind that they are doing a lot of projecting and they are not projecting good stuff, right? People who fall on this spectrum are living with a ton of unresolved, hurtful issues, trauma, etc. in their subconscious, in their innermost beings. It's a very heavy burden for them to carry, even subconsciously, and their tendency, one of their maladaptive relating styles, or to put it bluntly, one of their relating survival mechanisms is to project all of that onto their nearest target. They will thus project. Therefore, when they refer to you as this or that and accuse you of doing this or that, or of being this or that more, or of being more of that, or of doing this, that or the other, realize that they are letting you know exactly who they are, what they are, and what they are up to. This is a conventional. Therefore, don't take any of that personally. Once more, when engaging in this type of exchange, be aware of your audience and the situation. Additionally, keep in mind that these are their projections, not yours, when they come your way. You are not required to contact any of it. You can allow that material to fall to the ground where it belongs. Now, once we establish that the person we are dealing with falls on the spectrum of destructive narcissism, they have proven to be extremely toxic, extremely manipulative, and they approach life with a distorted perspective of reality. I always advise limiting our exposure. They lack empathy once more. They don't have conscience. Limiting our exposure to people like this is always going to be our best option because they have a tendency to lie, possibly pathologically. After all, once we realize that's what we are dealing with, it doesn't matter who they are or where they show up in our lives. Each of us is aware that it isn't always possible or even possible right away. Narcissist supply is sought after by destructive narcissists. They want you to respond to what they are saying. They want people to notice them. Any kind of focus will do. The more boring, uninteresting, and flatline you can be in any kind of exchange with them, the better off you will be. And once more, doing this requires practice as well as putting aside our own egos, which can be challenging if we are in there with our own egos trying to fulfill our needs, be seen or be heard by people who are completely incapable of seeing us, hearing us, or validating us in any real, authentic, or genuine way. Going off the rails with someone like this is the quick way to outsmart them in conversation because we are giving them nothing at all to latch onto. Those who actually participate in that and give them that reaction, the better. And this works in particular when they are saying something with deliberate intent to provoke us, to trigger us, to hurt us, to throw us off balance, etc. They wish for us to take the defensive. They want us to dance and perform for them. What I'm trying to say is that we need to love ourselves enough to stop rolling around in the mud next to them. However much they try to draw us into the toxic vortex, hence entering a situation where you must interact with someone who falls within the destructive narcissism spectrum. You need to adopt a certain attitude if you really want to outsmart them. Loving myself enough to be able to let go of my ego and the desire to always be right. Undoubtedly, it is easier said than done. On the other hand, brief one-word response like, "Okay," or "I see," "I hear you," or "I understand" are simple and straightforward. In addition, if you remain silent after giving that brief response, the narcissist will understand that you are not acting, provided you do it frequently enough. I'm not taking part in your game. When you interact with someone who falls into the category of destructive narcissism, and you have the mindset that nothing I am worth, and everything I am worth depends on your approval or your validation of me, they have no control over you at all. In order to outwit a narcissist in conversation, you must therefore embody that energy. Finally, but most importantly, use common sense. Don't give someone who falls on the spectrum of destructive narcissism any information that isn't necessary. Learn to control your mouth and speak less. The fewer words you use, the better. Maintain a close distance with your cards. For these people, information is a weapon. And if they can use it against you at some point, especially if they determine for any reason that you are a target, they will. And they won't just apply the information in plain sight. Truth will be told out of context. A great deal of a story will be missing, great amounts. It will be a form of omission lying. A well-distorted story and narrative will be presented, and in fact, they will probably do that anyhow. You have no control over that. Therefore, you must let go of and give up what you can't actually control. The amount of information you provide to these people, however, is something you can control. So keep in mind that knowledge is power in the hands of narcissists. Thus, less is always better. Hold your cards very close to your chest. In addition, do everything in your power to prevent narcissistic harm from being done. It is not worthwhile. Putting your hand up to be the target of destructive narcissists only invites unneeded suffering, chaos, drama, and trauma into our lives.